So the Cappadocians seem to agree that the rational mind was at a low ebb during sleep, and that the perceptive faculty was turned off in sleep. It is perhaps for this reason that Gregory of Nyssa never considered dream interpretation as a kind of active contemplation or theoria that could contribute to divinization. For the Alexandrians, Synesius and Athanasius, on the other hand, dreams allowed one who was properly trained to contemplate divine realities, and were thus a species of theoria and a path to deification. There seems to be an important difference between the schools of Alexandria and Cappadocia on this question. Rather than saying that the Cappadocians were less Neoplatonic than Athanasius, I'd prefer to say that Athanasius was an adherent of the Alexandrian tradition to which both Origen and Synesius belonged. Dossi does in fact come close to this when she writes in her conclusion to that fabulous article, which I do recommend if you're interested in sleep or dreams. Egyptians like Athanasius, she writes, may have had a peculiarly positive stance on dreaming that at times affected their own views of sleep. The only problem I have with that sentence is peculiar. I mean, it was not peculiar in Alexandria. Although, having said that, Synesius does say that he's writing this for people that would discount dreams, so it's becoming peculiar, let's say, in the 4th century. But there was a spiritual danger in dreaming. If dreams could assist theosis, they could also do the opposite. In Athanasius' Life of Antony of Egypt, the Bishop of Alexandria notes that the monk was famed for frequently breaking his sleep at night for prayer vigils. The devil appeared to Antony at night in various tempting and fearful forms, but these were visions or appearances of spiritual realities rather than revelations that needed interpretation. A key passage from Gregory on theosis is found in Contra Eunomium 3.422, where, according to John McGuckin, and I accept this, his concept of sharing in the divine being, or metusia theou, is the equivalent of deification. This is, of course, an important departure from Arians like Eunomius. What is most striking is that Gregory and Synesius both wrestled with the problem of the human being's intermediate state between the divine and material realms. For Synesius, the noose was caught, as it were, in embodied matter, which pulled against the spirit's upward ascent to the disembodied divine. The pneuma, or spirit, allowed the soul to separate from the body long enough to glimpse the divine in dreams. Gregory found his own unique solution, rejecting Origen's idea of the soul's fall from grace into matter. The mixed state of the body was for Gregory a graced state, a third order of creation, as opposed to the holy spiritual first order of the angels on the one hand, and the holy physical second order of the material on the other. As McGuckin puts it, man's double constitution as an ensouled body is thus the very basis of his hope to see God, and the plan for salvation that God has constituted to allow that possibility. Gregory Nazianzen understood that as a progressive promotion of the blessed soul to the constitution of the first order of creation, the angelic. But Gregory of Nyssa shifted that emphasis on the ontological metamorphosis to a complex understanding of the stretching out of a limited being to participation in the endless being of God. As discussed in an earlier paper I presented to this symposium, Gregory's celebrated notion of the endless upward striving of the soul to God is a major point of difference between him and Origen. After a point, one cannot go backwards, nor can one ever reach an end point of satiety. Like Origen, Gregory believed that the next life is a process of re-education or rehabilitation of the soul. But for Gregory, the process of divinization was ongoing after death. It is in this sense that one can say, with Damien Casey, that theosis is the unity of life and death. The ongoing nature of theosis before and after death meant that dreams had, in a sense, no part in Gregory's understanding of divine providence. Human salvation was clearly in God's hands, but made available to all, and nothing was to be achieved by prognostication or divination of the future in dreams for Gregory. We might contrast this with Plotinus, last slide, who believed in astrology as an instrument of divine providence or necessity that is working toward the good of all, as he explains in this chapter of the Enneads. Since then, men are not the best of living creatures, but the human species occupies a middle position and has chosen it, yet all the same is not allowed by providence to perish in the place where it is set, but is always being lifted up to the higher regions by all sorts of devices which the divine uses to give virtue the greater power. For Synesius, dreams were another such device which the divine could use to strengthen virtue. So, in conclusion, Synesius believed in the imagination's power to touch the divine in dreams and to transform the dreamer was radical, both in terms of his Neoplatonic background and his newly adopted Christianity, on which he had a somewhat tenuous grasp, at least before his ordination of bishop, if not afterwards. Against previous Neoplatonists, he believed that dreaming was a form of theosis by which the virtuous dreamer became a god. This was a power theoretically open to everyone, a more democratic ideal than the intellectual contemplation of the philosopher that was the norm in previous Platonic discussions of the ascent of the soul. For fellow Christians, his belief in a material part of the soul, or pneuma, which could be drawn to God by attraction if it was warm and thin, but would cause a fall into the flesh if it was compressed by inward behaviour, was not the received orthodoxy of fathers like Gregory of Nyssa, even with his own Neoplatonic background. Basil and his brother Gregory shared a contempt for it and did not consider them a part of theosis, their common goal for the Christian life. For Gregory, this meant an ongoing process of participation in the true being that was God, becoming, in the words of 2 Peter, participants in the divine nature. For Synesius, the goal of dreams was the same, namely a return to the divine, being carried up as if to its own natural state of being. While Gregory and Synesius were poles apart